For Milford, post 59, leading it off and playing left field is Scott Hubner. Batting second and playing third base is Andy McMillan. The shortstop, Dan Mantoni, bats third with Matt Forelli in the cleanup spot. He plays first base. Ian Strom is in center field and bats fifth with Kevin Martinez in as the designated hitter batting sixth. In the seventh spot is the catcher Nick Crivello with Cam Cosette back in there at right field batting eighth. And batting ninth is the second baseman, Matt DeCina. And quite a marquee pitching matchup on both sides, as we've got impressive pitchers out there on the mound. First for post 42, it is Connor Gill. Connor pitching a no-hitter despite giving up 2 runs in the first game of Wachusett's Zone 4 playoff series against Framingham. And on the other side, he is opposed by Mike Tracy, the starter on the mound for post 59. Everyone remembering very vividly what Mike was able to do the last time he went out there. He pitched the clinching game of the Zone 4 playoffs for post 59, pitching a complete game shutout against Grafton Hill. He was completely dominant all night long in that game. Only 3 hits allowed to Grafton Hill, just 2 walks. He struck out 8. Just had all of his pitches working, had tremendous command, had just a tremendous presence out there on the mound all game long. So he takes the hill for Milford tonight as they look to continue to stay in the driver's seat of this Intra-State Sectional. Tracy is on the hill into his windup, and his first pitch crosses the plate, and it is fouled away by Owen Gibbons. And we are officially underway here at Milford just after 7 p.m. Pheno Field once again playing host to playoff baseball. No balls and 1 strike to count. Tracy back into his windup. Here's the pitch, and it bounces in there, evening up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. It's been some unsettled weather over the last couple of days, obviously pushing the timetable back for this entire sectional bracket due to Wachusett and Pittsfield unable to complete their game back on Sunday night, but it is absolutely perfect conditions for baseball here tonight. Nothing but blue sky overhead, still plenty of sunshine splashing across Pheno Field. Just the kind of night you want here at the baseball field. It also is a manageable 78 degrees, so a nice comfortable condition as they're lunging at a pitch and coming up empty is Owen Gibbons on the 1-2 count. He goes down swinging, and Mike Tracy opens up his performance tonight with his first strikeout. So with 1 out and the bases empty, here comes the second baseman, Dan Wiggum. Meanwhile, defensively for post 59, it is Nick Crivello behind the plate with Andy McMillan at third base, Dan Mantoni at shortstop, Matt DeCina at second base, and Matt Forelli at first. Left to right in the outfield, it is Scott Hubner, Ian Strom, and Cam Cosette. Once again, Coach Mackey going with the exact same lineup. We've now seen the same lineup out there for the last 3 consecutive playoff games. Mike Tracy falling behind Wiggum in the count now. 2 balls and no strikes. Dan Wiggum wearing number 8. He's up there from the right side facing the right-handed throwing Mike Tracy. Here's the 2-0 pitch. And it misses as well, so now a 3-ball, no strike count. Dan Wiggum going hitless from the number 2 spot when Wachusett came to Pheno Field back on July 14th. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and it's not close. A 4-pitch walk for Dan Wiggum. It gets a round of applause from the Wombat fans who have made the trip up here to Pheno Field. Certainly a much shorter drive than what Wachusett experienced in their trip out to Pittsfield. So a walk and a strikeout so far in this top of the first inning. A runner at first with 1 down. And there is a called strike 1 issued from Mike Tracy to his counterpart, Connor Gill. Connor in the starting lineup for Wachusett post 42. No designated hitter tonight for Wachusett. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's in there for a called strike 2. Those pitches with good movement towards the outer edge of the plate for Tracy. 2 in a row to Gill to allow Mike Tracy to quickly jump ahead in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Wiggum with a lead off of first base. He's held on by Matt Forelli. He holds. The 0-2 pitch is too far outside, and Gill does not chase. Milford sweeping the regular season series against these two teams, looking to make it 3 wins on the year. Certainly not an easy task with the quality of these Zone 4 teams. There's a breaking ball that drops in there for a call, strike 3. It's Crow's Gill. 2 strikeouts now in the inning for Mike Tracy, and there are 2 outs. And here comes Cody Hall, the shortstop. All with a couple of hits. In the last game Wachusett played up here at Fino Field. Also in the lineup in the first game at Wachusett Regional High School, where he had a double, an RBI, and a run scored in that game. So a little bit of success against Milford pitching so far this season. He's ahead in the count 1-0. The next pitch misses low, so a quick 2-ball, no-strike count from Tracy to Hall. Hall starting the first game these two teams played this season, went 6 innings, allowed 6 runs to the Milford lineup. The runner takes off from first base. The pitch is in there for a strike. The throw down to second base is not in time. A great jump from Dan Wiggum at first base. No chance for Crivello to throw him out. A 2-out stolen base for post 42, and a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Hall. Now Hall backing out of the box just momentarily, now settling back in, preparing for the 2-1 pitch from Tracy. Pitching now with a man in scoring position. Here's the 2-1. It's swung on and missed. Already now more effort here in this first inning for Tracy tonight than we saw against Grafton Hill a week ago. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here's the pitch, and it drops in too low. Nicely blocked by Nick Crivello. It denied Wiggum a chance to move up a base, but it fills up the count. 3-2 now to Cody Hall with 2 away and a runner in scoring position at second base. Tracy shakes off the first sign from Crivello, now has the one he wants. A quick check on the runner. Now here's the payoff pitch. It misses outside. So Hall reaches on the free pass. 2 walks now in the inning for Mike Tracy to go along with 2 strikeouts. And that will allow Joe Zottely, the Wachusett center fielder, to step into the batter's box. Zottely listed at an even 6 feet, 195 pounds. 19 years old and currently enrolled at UMass Dartmouth. Takes the first pitch for a called strike 1 right on the inner edge. 2 men aboard now for Wachusett, who look to strike first in this game. Here's the 0-1. It's hit on the ground slowly up the middle. Mike Tracy has it. He flips underhand to Matt Forelli at first base for the out. That retires the side, so Tracy is able to pitch around those 2 walks. And after the top of the first inning is completed, we do not have a score. Milford will take their first swings when we come back. You're listening to coverage of the Intra-State Sectionals right here on WMRC First Class Radio. The jam in the top of the first inning, but able to get out of it unscathed. So now Milford getting set for their first at-bats of the night. Scott Hubner, Andy McMillan, and Dan Mantoni do up this inning. They will face the starting pitcher for Wachusett, Connor Gill. And pitching a strong game back in the Zone 4 playoffs against Framingham. It ended up being a no-hitter for Connor Gill. Again, he did end up allowing 2 runs in the game. It was a 4-2 win for Wachusett, but no hits allowed for Gill, so he can be tough. Getting set now to face Scott Hubner, who digs in the right side batter's box. Connor Gill listed at 5'10", 160 pounds. Meanwhile, quickly swinging at the first pitch is Scott Hubner. He sends it hard on the ground to first base where it kind of handcuffed Canyon Ventress. And no one covered the first base bag in time, so quickly aboard with an infield single is Scott Hubner. It was a little bit of a late reaction from Gill off the mound to try to cover first base, as that one was hit so hard it ricocheted away from Ventress. And no chance for anyone to get over and cover the bag, so Hubner is aboard, and now here's a called strike sent in to Andy McMillan. Andy has been one of the players carrying this Milford offense so far in the postseason. He currently holds a .571 batting average in the 3 playoff games that we have seen out of Milford so far. Been extremely productive. A great job getting on base also via the walk. So really saving his best stuff for the most important games of the year. And now up there with a count of 2-1. Turning to bunt that last time was McMillan, so certainly Coach Mackey and Milford understanding that offense could potentially be at a premium in this game, so playing for that early run to take control. But Gill struggling to throw strikes here in this at-bat as now he goes to 3-1. Back into the box goes McMillan up there on the left side against the right-handed throwing Connor Gill. And McMillan takes all the way. He takes a called strike 2. So a full count now on the Milford third baseman with Dan Mantoni waiting on deck. Back into the set goes Gill. Here's his pitch with Hubner taking off for second base. The pitch misses for ball 4. They throw through to second base anyway, but it's all academic as Hubner is able to take the base as McMillan worked the walk. So the first 2 Milford batters have reached here in the bottom of the first. Again, Wachusett missing an opportunity to grab an early lead in this game. They had runners at first and second base with 2 outs in the top half of this inning, but could not get anything done. So now it's Milford's turn. Runners at first and second with nobody out, and here is Dan Mantoni. The first pitch into Dan. This is high for ball 1. On Sunday against Westfield, Mantoni had 1 hit, officially going 1 for 2 in the game. He also had a walk, a sacrifice fly. Productive all the way around for Mantoni. A single, a walk, and a run batted in. He's gone to 2-0 now to Gill. And you can make it now 3 balls and no strikes. So Gill now 1 pitch away from walking the bases loaded. Mantoni right back in there with the ability to really narrow down that strike zone. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. Mantoni takes it, and it's strike 1. Dan Mantoni certainly not afraid to take the walk. Again, looking at his numbers overall on the season, Dan has walked 17 times. That is tied for tops on the team with Andy McMillan. So good on base out of the 2-3 hitters in this lineup. The 3-1 pitch is a borderline strike called on the outside edge. Appeared to be a little bit outside, but ruled strike 2, so that fills the count. Another long look into the plate for Gill, as the field is now momentarily covered in shadow. Here's the 3-2 pitch. It's inside and high for ball 4, so eventually Mantoni does work the walk. It's back-to-back walks here for Connor Gill in the top of the first inning, and it loads up the bases with nobody out for a man just itching to break out with the bat, Matt Forelli. If you listen to our Unibank Coaches Corner before the game, Matt has been in just a little bit of a mini funk here over the first 3 games of this playoff run. Just 1 hit so far for Ferrelli. He does have a pair of RBIs. He takes a called strike 1 here from Connor Gill. He came to the plate with the bases loaded and nobody out against Westfield back on Sunday, and he popped out to first base. Here's the 0-1 pitch. In there for a called strike 2. So Matt is quickly down here. No balls and 2 strikes. Milford runner at every base. Here comes the 0-2, and it hits Ferrelli, hitting him right in the small of the back. And that will force in a run. Certainly not what Gill wanted to do right there. He had the slugger 0-2, had a chance to make him chase. Instead, loses control of that pitch. It hits Ferrelli in the back, and it forces in Scott Hubner from third base. So a painful way for Milford to take the lead. But Ferrelli looks to be all right as he takes his base down at first. So Hubner comes in to score. Andy McMillan moves up to third. Mantoni to second. Ferrelli now at first. That's 4 straight Milford batters to reach here to start this bottom of the first inning. They take a 1-0 lead in the process. And now here is the other bat in this lineup trying to break out tonight, Ian Strom. He takes the first pitch wide for ball 1. A golden opportunity for Post 59 to put up a big number on the scoreboard right off the bat. Here's the 1-0, down in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes to Ian Strom. Looking at Ian's numbers overall on 2013, currently the owner of a .357 batting average. Certainly a good number, but one Ian would like to see start climbing back up. It was up over the 400 mark for a long portion of the season. He hits this one out to center field. A long run in for Joe Zottoli, but he can't come up with it. In to score comes Andy McMillan, and Milford takes a 2-0 lead. That one was quickly falling in shallow center field, but Zottoli was there in time. He had it in the glove, but then couldn't squeeze it. So that will go as an error on the center fielder. Another unearned run comes in to score, the 47th unearned run that Milford has scored this season. And we still do not have an out recorded in this game, and here is Kevin Martinez who takes the first pitch strike. Two runs home so far in this inning, still no outs recorded, and again, a Post 59 runner located at every base. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to the Milford designated hitter, who has also been playing at a high level here in the postseason. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's fought off foul. Kevin Martinez with a .333 batting average overall on the year, but so far an even .500 batting average in 3 playoff games. He was our player of the game back on Sunday night. The 1-2 pitch misses outside and low. A good block by Cam Ruziak, the catcher. Defensively for Post 42 tonight, it is Ruziak behind the plate with Owen Gibbons at third, Cody Hall at short, Dan Wiggum at second, and Tanyan Ventris at first. Left to right in the outfield, it is Nick Ellicone, Joe Zottoli, and Eric Seaver. Here's the 2-2 pitch now. It's hit on the ground. A long run at shortstop for Cody Hall. He's able to get the force out at second base somehow. No chance for a double play. Cody Hall had to go deep in the hole at shortstop to come up with that one. It looked like it was going to roll out into left field, but he somehow managed to scoop it up on the backhand and get enough on the throw to second base to get it there in time to force out Ian Strom. So finally, Post 42 gets their first out of the night. Another run does score as Mantoni comes in from third. It's 3-0 now Milford. 1 down and runners at the corners. And here is Nick Crivello. Martinez safe at first base on the fielder's choice. Nick starting off ahead in the count, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike. Nick is still waiting for his first hit of the postseason. It's been a tough go of it for Nick lately. He has not had a hit since the game here at home against Shrewsbury in the final week of the regular season. Here he takes a breaking ball that stays upstairs and brings the count to 2 balls and a strike. Nick checking the signs down from the third base coach's box before stepping back in. Kevin Martinez leads off of first with Matt Forelli leading off of third base. Here's the pitch. It's hit foul to the backstop. And the count is even at 2-2. 3-0 the score. Milford putting up some early offense here against their Zone 4 rival, Wachusett, post 42.
Roll 'em, let's go.
The first 5 batters reached in this inning before we finally saw an out. Now here's the 2-2 pitch. It drops in there for a called strike 3. Good pitch there from Gill. He gets his first strikeout of the night. That keeps the runners right where they are at first and third with now 2 down. And here is Cam Cosette to get his first at bat of the night out of the number 8 spot. Cam starting the last 3 consecutive playoff games, all out in right field. He takes a hack at the first pitch and delivers it foul right into the Milford bench, where it was fielded on a hop by Dan Avery with an assist from Joe Cortez. All the Milford players right at the edge of their dugout area, enjoying this rally that Milford has been taking part in. The runner takes off from first base as Cosette, in a half bunt, half swing, fouled the pitch off. Bit of an awkward look there from Cosette, and he is down in an 0-2 hole. Martinez retreats back to the first base tag. We do not see a whole lot of base stealing out of Kevin Martinez. Only has 1 steal on the year. He holds here on the 0-2 pitch. It's hit slowly towards the left side of the infield, scooped up by Owen Gibbons at third base. He fires across the diamond, and that will retire the side. But 3 runs come home here in the bottom of the first inning for post 59, and as a result, they take a 3-0 lead. We are back here at Pheno Field, where we continue play in the Intra-State Sectionals. It is Milford taking on Wachusett. Milford able to grab 3 runs in the first inning. We gave you that stat in the last game. They've only lost once when they have scored in the first inning, compiling a record of 16-1 when notching at least 1 run in the first inning. Getting 3 here in the bottom of the first off of Wachusett starting pitcher Connor Gill. So now Mike Tracy has a lead to work with as he gets back out there on the rubber for the start of the second inning. He fires in his first pitch upstairs for ball 1 to the catcher Cam Ruziak. He'll be followed by Eric Seaver and Nick Ellicone here in the top of the second inning. Here's the 1-0. It swung on and missed. Tracy allowing 2 walks in the top of the first inning, but no hits, so he has now gone a good distance with just limited offensive damage done, just allowing 3 hits against Grafton Hill back on last Wednesday during the Zone 4 playoffs. With a 2-1 pitch here, this one is hit out to left field. This could be trouble, and it is a foul ball. Oh, that was very close. That one was definite extra base potential off the bat of Ruziak as it quickly sliced down that left field line away from Scott Hubner, but just wide of that left field foul line, so it brings the count to 2-2. Wachusett sporting all white uniforms with black lettering here at Pheno Field tonight. Here's the 2-2 from Tracy, and it swung on and missed for strike 3. already Tracy's third strikeout of the ball game. And now here is Seaver, the right fielder. Eric Seaver on the season. With good success for this Wachusett team. Looking at his bio, he's listed at 5'11", 180 pounds. He's 17 years old. He will be a senior at Wachusett Regional High School coming up this fall. One of the returning veterans on this Wachusett team. He is quickly down in the count, 0-2. Out in front of a breaking ball from Mike Tracy. The fans continue to fill up Pheno Field here tonight. Again, just absolutely ideal weather to take in a ball game. Tracy into his windup. Here's his 0-2 pitch. It drops in there for a called strike 3. That looks like either a cut fastball or maybe even a slider from Mike Tracy. It completely fooled Eric Seaver. Back-to-back Ks here in the second inning for Mike, and there are quickly 2 gone. That leaves it up to Nick Ellicone, the left fielder. Up there on the right side of the plate, he swings at the first pitch and sends it out to center field, but perfectly located for Ian Strom to make the catch. And it's a very quick and easy 1-2-3 top of the second inning for Mike Tracy. On to the home half of the second we go, with Milford up by a score of 3-0 as they play on here in the Intra-State Sectionals here on WMRC First Class Radio. We are back here at Pheno Field, a 3-0 lead for Post 59 over Wachusett Post 42. Tim Coet here on the call for Milford Legion Baseball on WMRC First Class Radio. Just want to remind you that if you miss any Milford Legion action, or you just want to catch the game as well, catch the game over again, you can listen to all of our local programming over in our WMRC Media Center at WMRCDailyNews.com. If you miss one of my terrific calls from this game, you're in luck. You can hear it all over again over in our media center. The first pitch in this inning to Matt DeCina is outside for ball 1. A little bit of shameless self-promotion goes a long way.
Nothing wrong with
2
that.
balls and no strikes the count now to DeCina, the only member of this Post 59 batting order not to come to the plate in the bottom of the first inning. Next pitch, that one's in there for a strike. Matt in the game on Sunday against Westfield, 0 for 3. A couple of ground outs and a pop out. Here's the 2-1 pitch now. And that one's right at the bottom of the strike zone on the outside corner for a called strike 2. Perfect location on that pitch from Connor Gill, who is looking to get things off to a better start here in the second inning. This pitch is hit back up the middle, past the glove of the pitcher. Now fielding it is the shortstop, Hall, but he throws it in the dirt over to first base. It bounces away, and DeCina will be safe. Can make that the third baseman, Owen Gibbons, who came across in front of the shortstop to field that ball, but its throw to first base was off balance and off the mark. It was a slow roller, so very little chance that even a good throw from Gibbons would have gotten DeCina, and the throw in the dirt did not allow DeCina to advance, so that will likely go as an infield hit. Just the second hit for Milford tonight. They were able to score their 3 runs in the first inning on the benefit of just an infield single by Scott Hubner. They were helped out by 2 walks, a hit batsman, and an error. Now Scott Hubner dropping a bunt down the third base line. It gets DeCina to second base. Here's the throw from Gibbons. It's in time to get Hubner at first. Hubner possibly bunting for a hit there instead. He does get the sacrifice.
Coming to the plate, number 2, the third base.
As it moves DeCina down into scoring position, and now here's Andy McMillan. He was the recipient of one of the 2 Connor Gill walks in the bottom of the first. Came around to score. Here's the pitch from Gill, and it misses outside for ball one. Again, the fans continuing to fill up the stadium here. Again, there is a possibility that this could be the last game of the year at Fino Field, but if the score holds the way it is right now, we will be right back here tomorrow. 1 ball and 1 strike now on Andy McMillan as he fouls that pitch hard to the backstop, putting a scare into a couple of the fans, but the chain link holding firm on that backstop. Here's the 1-1. This one is hit through the left side of the infield on a line for a base hit. They're going to wave Matt Decina to the plate. Double clutching the ball is the left fielder, Nick Ellicone. And that is all Matt Decina needs to come around to score on an RBI single by Andy McMillan. And it's now a 4-0 lead for post 59.
Now batting number 7, the shortstop, Dan Mantoni.
Coach Mackey waving Decina home all the way, deciding to test the arm of Ellicone. Had he been able to get a handle on that ball cleanly, it might have been a closer play at the plate, but instead a double clutch out there and then no contest for Decina to come around and score. Now Dan Mantoni swings at the first pitch. It hits it on the ground to second base, but it's in and out of the glove of Dan Wiggum, and Dan Mantoni will reach it first. So again, Milford putting the pressure on. And we're seeing some issues from this infield defense for Wachusett, just as we saw from Westfield on Sunday. An error now on the second baseman, Dan Wiggum. It's the second Wachusett error of the night. It puts runners at first and second base for Matt Forelli, who takes a called strike one. He was down in an 0-2 hole in his first at-bat when he was hit in the back by Connor Gill. Up there now with a count of no balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. Both runners go, and the pitch is fouled off. It is not the first time we've seen that out of post 59 with Andy McMillan and Dan Mantoni on the bases. Coach Mackey very aggressive with the speed of his number 2 and number 3 hitters. We've seen a couple of successful double steals from this tandem over the course of the year. 0-2 the count. Here's the pitch. And a defensive swing by Forelli. He just flips it foul off to the right. Hanging tough with 2 strikes is Matt Forelli, who saw his batting average for the first time this season dip down underneath the 400 mark after an 0-for performance against Westfield on Sunday. Matt now batting .395 on the season, which is certainly outstanding by any other standards, but Forelli setting the bar high over these last 2 seasons. Here's the 0-2 pitch. It's hit on the ground towards the left side, played there on a hop by Owen Gibbons at third base. He fires to second for the force out there, but no chance for a double play. So they are able to cut down the middleman as Mantoni is erased from the bases. Andy McMillan is safe at third base, and Forelli is safe on the fielder's choice. So he is now 0 for 1 on the evening. There are 2 outs now in the inning, and that leaves it up to Ian Strom, who reached on the other Wachusett error back in the first inning. Hit a shallow line drive out to center field that Joe Zottoli could not hang on to. Starts out with a first pitch ball. So much to keep you updated on tonight. We will continue to update you on the goings-on around the Intra-State Sectionals, and we will also keep you updated on what's going on with the Boston Red Sox as they open up a series tonight at Fenway against the Seattle Mariners. Brandon Workman, the young pitcher, getting another start for the Sox tonight, opposed by Joe Saunders. We'll get you an update from Fenway coming up shortly. First, a 2-0 pitch to Ian Strom is lined out to center field for a base hit. That will chase home Andy McMillan. Matt Forelli stops at second base as Zottoli's able to get the throw back in quickly. A 2-out RBI single from Ian Strom. And Milford takes a 5-0 lead.
Now batting number 20, the designated hitter, Kevin Martinez.
So 2 more runs put up so far in this inning by Milford to go along with the 3 runs they posted in the first. Continuing to pressure this post 42 team. Now Kevin Martinez has a shot. He starts off with an 0-1 count. Kevin reaching on a fielder's choice. Back in the first inning. 0 for 1 on the night. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's a breaking ball that swung on and missed. Down 0-2. Kevin Martinez on the season has struck out 15 times. That is good for third on the team. He makes contact here, drives this one out to right center field, and it gets down for a hit. Matt Forelli rounding third base. The throw to the plate is offline. It's going to go to the backstop, and that's going to allow Ian Strom to come all the way around and score. The ball travels into the Wachusett dugout, so that will allow Kevin Martinez to end up at third base. 2 runs come home on the play, and Milford takes the 7-0 lead. You can count it as an RBI single for Kevin Martinez. He ends up at third base. It'll be an error on the right fielder, Eric Seaver, a wild throw that allowed the second run to come in and score. So that's the second error we've seen in this inning, the third error in the game for post 42. They've now allowed 2 unearned runs in this game, but more importantly, Milford with 7 runs total. They are in command, and Wachusett will start to get some action going over in their bullpen. Connor Gill not having the same results he did back in the Zone 4 playoffs. He has allowed 7 runs in just an inning and 2/3 so far to post 59, who continues to bat here as Nick Crivello is up for the second time. He's quickly down in the count, 0-2. He struck out back in the first inning. He tries to check the swing here. They check down to the infield umpire. He did indeed hold up, bringing the count to 1-2. Milford sent 8 men to the plate in the first inning. They've sent 8 men to the plate so far here in the second. The 1-2 pitch drops too low. And now the count even. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning. Kevin Martinez, the lone base runner, he is at third. Gill ready. Here's his pitch. Too far inside. And after being down 0-2, Nick Crivello has worked the count full. A lot of offense here early on in this one, and so far all courtesy of the post 59 bats. It's been a long wait in the dugout once again for Mike Tracy after a long wait to come out to start his outing. Here's the 3-2 pitch. It's high for ball 4. So credit Nick Crivello hanging tough there. He works a walk. It's the 3rd walk of the night for Connor Gill, who is laboring out there. Milford now officially batting around in the second inning as their 9th member of the lineup comes to the plate in Cam Cosette. He grounded out to third base to bring an end to the first inning rally. Again, Milford up 7-0. They now have runners at the corners. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's swung on and missed. Cam is still looking for his first postseason hit. Went 0 for 3 in the Zone 4 playoffs. He's 0 for 5 total on the playoffs. He hits this one on the ground again towards third base. The throw from Gibbons is a little bit wide, but a nice stretch by Tanyan Ventris. He's able to maintain contact with the bag for the out. That retires the side, but another good rally put up by post 59. 4 more runs to their credit. They now take a 7-0 lead over Wachusett post 42. in this game of the Intra-State Sectionals between Milford and Wachusett right here on WMRC First Class Radio. Seven runs on 4 hits with no errors for Milford post 59. No runs, no hits, and 3 errors for Wachusett post 42. It's been a one-sided game through the first 2 innings. Mike Tracy, who again has had a couple of lengthy waits, as his team put up 3 runs in the first inning, 4 runs in the second. So he's out there to start inning number 3, where he'll face batters 9, 1, and 2 in the Wachusett order. Tanyan Ventris getting it started. Ventris wearing number 14 on the jersey. He steps in on the right side. Tracy ready with his first offering of this 3rd inning. Here it is. And it's too far outside for ball 1. Tracy ready with another. Here's his windup and the pitch. It's swung on and missed, and that will even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike to the first Wachusett batter here in the 3rd. We'll bring you now our first update from Fenway Park, where the Boston Red Sox hold a 2-1 lead over the Seattle Mariners. Here at Fino, meanwhile, Ventris sends this one shallow out to right field. A diving catch is made by Cam Cosette. Came racing in, went into the knee slide, and was able to make the grab. A pretty catch out there by Cosette, denying Ventris the base hit. So back up to the leadoff spot in the order, and Owen Gibbons, who struck out swinging to open up the ball game. He swings at the first one and sends it on the ground wide of third base. Taking a look at the scoring plays so far in the Red Sox game. Shane Victorino scoring on a pass ball. David Ortiz also driving in a run. That's how the Sox scored their 2 runs. Seattle getting their run on an RBI single by Kendry Morales. More updates to come a little bit later in that game. It's an 0-2 count here to Gibbons now. This pitch is hit hard on the ground towards shortstop. A good hop for Dan Mantoni. His throw across the way is good. 6-3 on the putout. And again, 2 quick outs for Mike Tracy. He has now retired the last 6 Wachusett batters that he has faced, and now he will deal with Dan Wiggum, who walked and stole a base back in the first inning. One of just 2 Wachusett base runners so far. Here's the first pitch. A breaking ball that misses for ball 1. We also have an Intra-State Sectional update, which we will bring you in the next half inning, as Mike Tracy delivers a 1-0 pitch that misses low and outside. Now 2 balls and no strikes the count, with 2 outs and the base is clear. Tracy, a long look into his battery mate, Nick Crivello, now goes into his windup, and the pitch is swung on and missed. Tracy with a very deliberate windup, slowly brings that left leg up and sort of turns his back momentarily to the batter before he fires. And now he fires the called strike 2. So deuce is wild on the scoreboard here. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Milford leading this game 7-0. Tracy looking to finish off the inning right here. Here's the 2-2, and it is just outside. A couple of groans coming out of the Fino crowd, thinking that was a good pitch on the outer edge, but just outside, says the home plate ump. So now we'll see a 3-2 pitch. Here it comes. And it's low, and that will be ball 4. So Wiggum fights back. He works his second walk of the game. Mike Tracy has walked 3 batters now overall on the night. And again, more arguments being raised from the fans here at Pheno regarding the strike zone. But Wiggum now at first base on the walk. Connor Gill gets a chance. And he sees the first pitch that misses for ball 1.
Right. Actually,
Wiggum taking his lead off of first base, now a decent lead. The Wachusett second baseman, he doesn't go on this pitch that misses high and outside. Tracy's control wavering here after he collected the first 2 outs in short order. Readies himself now for a 2-0 pitch. And this one is hit right back up the middle, past the glove of Tracy and out into center field. There is the first hit of the night for Wachusett. So a little bit of frustration here out of the Milford starter. He thought he had a called strike 3 that would have ended the inning. Facing Dan Wiggum instead. He lost Wiggum on the base on balls, and now a sharp single back up the middle off the bat of Connor Gill puts 2 on with 2 outs for Cody Hall.
right.
First pitch to Hall. Misses down low. Tracy has started off behind the last 2 batters. Two outs deep here in the top of the 3rd inning. Wachusett trying to scratch across some runs to cut into this 7-run deficit. This pitch is swung on and missed. It looked like Hall wanted to hold up the swing, but he could not. 1 ball and 1 strike now on Hall, who walked back in the first. Here's the 1-1 pitch now. Too low. 2 balls and a strike. The infield deep up the middle for post 59, about medium depth at the corners. Tracy ready with the next pitch. This one is hit in the air out to center field. Racing back is Ian Strom, still going back, but he makes the over-the-shoulder grab for the final out here in the top of the 3rd inning. So Wachusett makes a little bit of 2-out noise, but they cannot push a run across the plate. So we head now to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Still 7-0 the score. Milford with the lead as you are listening to coverage of the Intra-State Sectionals right here on WMRC First Class Radio.
Don't forget to get your foot tied.
Milford has the lead as they take their at-bats here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Matt Cena leading it off for the 2nd consecutive inning as Milford sent their full complement to the plate in the 2nd inning.
Okay, cool.
He takes the first pitch from Connor Gill outside for ball 1. Now quickly ahead in the count, 2-0. Connor Gill back out there despite giving up 7 runs on 4 hits over the course of the first 2 innings.
Yeah.
Wachusett did have some action warming during that 2nd inning, so Gill may not be long for this game should he get into any trouble here in the 3rd.
Yeah.
Tessina fighting off that pitch foul to bring the count to 2 balls and a strike. Reached on an infield single and scored a run back in the 2nd inning. The 2-1 just a bit outside, and now 3 balls and a strike is the count. Gill back into the windup. Here's the pitch. And Tessina thought he had ball 4, but called strike 2, says the home plate umpire, so right back into the box he goes. Digs back in on the left side, ready with a 3-2 pitch is Gill. This one is hit in the air out to center field, almost in his tracks now, over a step or 2 towards left field. Zottoli makes the catch. And so Gill is able to retire the leadoff man for the first time tonight. And now here is Scott Hubner up for the third time in 3 innings. Reached on an infield single to open the bottom of the first inning. Came around to score. Sacrifice bunt back in the second inning. He hits this one up the middle. It bounces off the pitcher's mound and rolls out into center field. Second hit of the night for Scott Hubner. He's aboard with 1 down. And while we have a moment, we do want to update you on what's going on over in the A bracket in the Intra-State Sectionals. In the first game, Palmer was able to defeat Greenfield by a final score of 2-0, so Greenfield gets eliminated from this Intra-State tournament. Palmer moves on with a quick turnaround facing Leominster. And that game is already underway, and the last update we received after 1 inning, Leominster had taken a 1-0 lead. Leominster post 151 with a chance to seal their ticket to the Intra-State Finals if they can win that game over Palmer going on right now this evening. Meanwhile, Andy McMillan is up at the plate with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. This pitch is up high. It bounces in and out of the glove of Cam Ruziak. And Scott Hubner is able to take second base on the wild pitch from Gill. Brings the count to 2-1 on Andy. Here's the pitch. This one outside. And again, Ruziak had to lunge to keep that one in front of him. This time he was able to do so. Connor Gill has just not been sharp over these first 3 innings. 3 walks, a hit batter, 4 hits allowed. And his defense has not helped him out of these jams either. We saw an error out of the center fielder Joe Zottoli back in the first inning, and errors from Dan Wiggum at second base and Eric Seaver out in right field in the second inning. Now a full count on Andy McMillan, who has walked tonight. Been on base twice. Here's the 3-2 pitch. This one is hit out to left field. In comes Nick Ellicone. He is able to make the catch. So finally, Wachusett finding a way to retire the Milford third baseman. They get him on a fly out to left. There are 2 outs in the inning. Scott Hubner remains at second base. And now a chance for Dan Mantoni, who walked and scored back in the first, reached on an error in the second. Here's the first pitch. It's a breaking ball that stays high and brings the count to 1-0. Bottom of the third inning here from Pheno Field, a 7-0 Milford lead. And a called strike on the inside edge. It had Mantoni backing away. But the home plate umpire ruling it a strike. Gill back to the set position. Here's his pitch. In there for strike 2. Scott Hubner has been doing a whole lot of dancing down at second base, but so far has not attempted a steal. He is not being held on. Now the second baseman creeps over to the bag before returning to his spot. As this one is in the dirt, Hubner takes off. The throw down to third base is going to bounce away, but not far enough for Hubner to try to break for the plate. Just a momentary bobble at the plate on that pitch in the dirt from Ruziak. Tried to hustle the throw down to third, but it bounced in and bounced away from Gibbons. So Hubner getting a free trip around the bases so far. Here's the 2-2 now to Mantoni. And that one's in there for a called strike 3 again. It had Mantoni backing away as it nearly hit him. The home plate umpire walks away as Mantoni hung around in the batter's box for a minute. He shakes his head as he heads back to the dugout, but that strikeout is good for the final out here in the bottom of the third inning. As we have now completed 3 innings of play here from Pheno Field, Milford continues to lead by a score of 7-0 as you're listening to coverage of Milford Legion baseball in the Intra-State Sectionals, and it's all right here on First Class Radio. Mike Tracy back out on the mound for Milford Post 59 as we begin the fourth inning of play. Tracy will face batters 5, 6, and 7. Here's his first pitch into Joe Zottely. It misses for ball 1. We haven't quite seen the same ability for Tracy to consistently get ahead of hitters here tonight the way we saw against Grafton Hill last week, but he's been effective through the first 3 innings. He's allowed just a total of 4 base runners. He allowed 2 walks in the first inning, a walk and a single in the third inning. But he's down in the count here, 2 balls and no strikes to Zottely, who grounded out back to Tracy to conclude the first inning. Here's the 2-0 pitch. It's hit out to left center field. Now shifting directions on Scott Hubner, who had to sort of twist his body around, but he was able to stay with it and make the catch. That one looked like it was headed for the alley out in left center. Then all of a sudden took a quick turn more towards straightaway left field. But Scott Hubner, a good eye, he stayed with it and was able to make the catch. Zottely retired on the flyout. One down, and now here's the first pitch strike into the catcher, Cam Ruziak. Another update from Pincanavino Field in Leominster, where Post 151 now has a 3-0 lead over Palmer. Josh Raymond, who got the game-winning hit for Leominster in their first game of sectional play, has just hit a 2-run homer to up the Leominster lead to 3-0. This 1-1 pitch is fouled away off towards the parking lot. 1-2 the count. The Red Sox have continued to put the pressure on offensively against the Mariners as they've now opened up a 5-1 lead. This 1-2 pitch fouled away, also headed towards the parking lot. Home runs in the second inning by Jacoby Ellsbury and Dustin Pedroia, upping the Sox lead. Ellsbury's home run, a solo shot. Dustin Pedroia with a 2-run blast. The Sox trying to shake off that controversial loss to the Rays last night. The 1-2 pitch into Ruziak is swung on and missed. It gets away from Crivello. He has to hurry the throw. And they say the throw pulled Forelli off the bag. It appeared that Matt had maintained contact with the bag long enough to secure the out. He did end up falling after receiving the throw, but it did appear that the toe remained on the base to be able to complete the putout before he landed on his backside. Coach Mackey out to argue with the infield umpire, now gesturing towards the first base bag. The conversation not very heated at the moment. And now things break up. Coach Mackey heads back to the dugout. So it will end up as a strikeout to Ruziak, but the pass ball allows Ruziak to reach first base. Now 5 strikeouts in the game for Mike Tracy, but still just 1 out in this inning as Ruziak was able to take first base. This pitch is hit on the ground. It's going to get through the right side for a base hit. That nearly hit Ruziak midway between first and second base. And he was able to get himself out of the way. Second hit of the night for Wachusett. And now the Wombats have runners at first and second with only 1 out. As again, they try to start the long climb back into this game. They trail by 7 runs. Here is Nick Ellicone, who is 0 for 1. Taking off for third base was the lead runner, Ruziak. But this pitch was sliced foul off the bat of Ellicone, so Kusiak must retreat. Helicone 0 for 1. He flew out to center field to conclude the second inning. Up there with a count of no balls and 1 strike. Tracy a check on the runner at second. This time he holds. The pitch in is low. And that evens up the count at 1-1. Helicone back in there on the right side, levels the bat above the shoulder. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's hit on the ground towards third base. Andy McMillan will tap the third base bag for 1 out. His throw across the diamond is in time to complete the double play. Excellent defense from Andy McMillan fielding that ground ball. He tapped the third base bag to get the lead runner there, and a good accurate throw across to Matt Forelli completes the 5-3 inning-ending double play. So we are through 3.5 innings now from Pheno Field. The score unchanged, 7-0 in favor of Milford. You're listening to coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on WMRC First Class Radio and streaming online at WMRCDailyNews.com.
Leading off for Milford in the bottom of the 4th inning, number 8, first baseman, Matt Forelli.
Matt Forelli leading off now this bottom of the 4th inning. And he takes the first pitch out of the strike zone for ball 1. Connor Gill remains on the mound for the Wombats. Now 2 balls and no strikes to count. Forelli so far tonight was hit by a pitch back in the 1st inning, reached on a fielder's choice, and scored a run in the 2nd. Here's the 2-0 pitch, a big rip at that 2-0 pitch from Forelli, but he comes up empty. And it brings the count to 2-1. Gill ready. Here's his next pitch. This one is hit in the air in foul territory down the right field line, twisting out of play, and that will land well beyond the field of play and up over the rooftop of the Pheno Field concession stand, and it evens the count at 2-2. Again, Matt still looking for his second hit of this Milford playoff run. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. It misses outside. And we'll see a full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Matt Forelli, who is the first Milford batter here in the 4th inning, in a game that Post 59 leads 7-0. Here's the 3-2 pitch. It's off the end of the bat towards the right side of the infield, scooped up by Dan Wiggum at second base. He throws to first in time to retire Forelli, who is now 0 for 2.
That brings up number 15, the center
You can
fielder.
start to see the frustration just a little bit on Matt Forelli. Again, he's usually very low-key, very quiet, very collected during these games, but taking the helmet off, now wandering around the dugout area with certainly some frustration starting to show through on his face as now Ian Strom takes the call at strike 1. Gill ready with his next pitch. This is hit hard out to center field. A sliding catch is made out there by Joe Zottoli. He was unable to come up with a shallow line drive off the bat of Ian Strom back in the 1st inning, but makes a nifty little sliding catch right there.
Now batting number 20, the designated hitter, Kevin Martinez.
First 2 Milford batters are retired here in the 4th inning. And now here is Kevin Martinez. He has reached base twice. He reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st inning, hit an RBI single in the 2nd inning, was credited with 1 RBI on that single, despite the fact that 2 runs came home to score. Ian Strom ended up able to score all the way from first base as the relay throw in from right field went wildly past the cutoff man and into the Wachusett dugout. 2 balls and 1 strike now on Kevin Martinez. Here's the pitch. This one is hit in on the hands. It's out to shallow right field, and the catch cannot be made out there by Eric Seaver. He tried to go into a slide to make the catch, but this time unable to make it. That one bouncing around maybe the glove, and also looked like it might have hit off the chest of Seaver as he went into that feet first slide.
Number 13, the catcher, Nick Crivello.
So Martinez is able to reach. Aboard at first base for Nick Crivello, who jumps ahead in the count 1-0. The errors starting to mount in this game for post 42 here. Nick Crivello hits this one straight up. Losing track of that one was the catcher, Cam Ruziak. It bounced down right close to the backstop. It was hard to tell if it just made its way over or if it actually stayed within the field of play, but it did not end up in the glove of Ruziak, so we play on with a count of 1-1. Kevin Martinez, who reached base for the 3rd time, this time via an error. He stands at first as now the count grows to 1-2. Nick settles back in on the right side. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's tapped on the ground. It is a fair ball all the way down the left field line. Kevin Martinez stumbling around second base. He will hold up at third. Stopping at second is Nick Crivello. There is his first hit of this 2013 postseason. He goes for extra bases as he cruises into second base with a 2-out double. Martinez goes first to third. And after the first 2 men were retired here in the 4th inning, all of a sudden now Milford has 2 men in scoring position for Cam Cosette. You can check that as Milford will send up a pinch hitter. Brendan Pounds coming up now to bat in place of Cosette. Brendan Pounds getting his first at bat since game 1 of the Zone 4 playoff. Taps the first pitch foul to the backstop. Cam Cosette, in his 2 at-bats tonight, had done the same thing both times. That is ground out to the third baseman, Owen Gibbons. That pitch in there for strike 2. Pounds turned to bunt. He may have offered at it. Pitch didn't appear to be within the strike zone, but home plate ump saying it was indeed strike 2, so an 0-2 count now on the pinch hitter Pounds. The next one in there high and tight. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Crivello the runner at second base, Martinez the runner at third. Milford looking to add on to this 7-run lead. Here's a breaking ball that started out at the eye level of Brendan Pounds and then dropped right back down into the strike zone. Great late movement on that pitch from Connor Gill. It lands in there for strike 3, and that will end the inning. So Milford leaves a couple of men stranded in scoring position. We're now through 4 full innings of play from Pheno Field. It's a 7-0 lead for Post 59 as you listen to coverage of the Intra-State Sectionals right here on First Class Radio. Starting to get deep into this game here tonight. We've reached inning number 5. Mike Tracy getting warmed up to begin this 5th inning. They'll face Tanyan Ventress, Owen Gibbons, and Dan Wiggum. They are the 3 scheduled batters here in the top of the 5th inning. Another update from the A bracket from these Intra-State Sectionals. Palmer is able to get 1 run back as they get a sacrifice fly to cut their deficit to 5-1. Still a lot of work to do. As Leominster looks to be
Number 14, first baseman, Tanyan
in position to grab a spot in the Intra-State Final bracket. certainly, as these games go on, it looks more and more like there will be a chance for 2 Zone 4 teams to be represented in that final tournament. Of course, still some work to be done here in the B bracket. Milford hoping to be that second team. They need to close this one out tonight, and then if they are able to, they will have another game coming up here tomorrow with then an opportunity to officially move on with a win. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count here to Tanyan Ventris, who's 0 for 1 in the game tonight. He hits this pitch out into shallow center field, but time for Ian Strom to range in to make the catch. And now we have an update from the B bracket, which of course is Milford's bracket. Pittsfield and Westfield playing in an elimination game tonight. It took 9 innings to complete that game, but in the end it was Pittsfield who was able to eliminate their Western Massachusetts foe, Westfield, by a final score of 3-2. So Westfield, who lost here to Milford on Sunday night, has now officially been eliminated from tournament play. Pittsfield will travel out to Central Massachusetts tomorrow to face the loser of this game tonight. So we're down to 3 in the B bracket. Milford, Wachusett, and Pittsfield, the 3 teams still standing, with Westfield now eliminated. One ball and 1 strike, the count to Owen Gibbons. The offers at that pitch tried to hold up but could not. It's a 1-2 count. Gibbons struck out swinging in the first, grounded out to shortstop in the third. Here's the 1-2 pitch, inside and low. Two and two now the count, with nobody on and 1 away. Tracy back into his windup. Here is the pitch. This one bounces in front of home plate. And it fills the count at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gibbons looking to reach base for just the first time tonight out of the Wachusett leadoff spot. Gets himself settled back in the box. Here comes the payoff pitch from Tracy. And it's in on the hands and fouled off. Owen Gibbons did not play in the game that these 2 teams took part in here at Pheno Field back on the 14th. Here's another 3-2 pitch. Too far inside for ball 4. It is the 4th walk of the game for Mike Tracy. It's the first time Gibbons has reached base. He's there with 1 out for Dan Wiggum, who has earned 2 walks so far tonight. Walked in the first inning and stole a base, walked in the third inning and was stranded at second base. A quick pickoff check over at first base, and Gibbons has to dive back in.
Hey, you're in his head, Gordo. In his head.
This pitch is in there for a called strike. No balls and 1 strike to count to Dan Wiggum, who has shown some very good patience at the plate. Here's the 0-1. Misses up and away, and then Crivello was quickly out of his crouch, looking to snap the throw over to first. He held on to it as Gibbons jumped back for the first base bag. 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 out in the inning. Here's the pitch. This one is lifted in the air down the right field line in foul territory, now twisting towards the fans, but it stays on the field of play in time for Matt Forelli to make the catch in foul ground. So they finally retire Dan Wiggum for the first time tonight. And that will leave things up to Connor Gill, starting pitcher. Made it through the first 4 innings in this game despite allowing 7 runs. And given a long leash by the Wachusett head coach, Chuck Tidman. No balls and 1 strike, the count to Connor Gill. Here's the next pitch. In there on the outside corner for a called strike 2. The full coaching staff for Post 42, Chuck Tidman, the manager, with Mike Orico, Greg Dwyer, and Jamie Skagerland, all assistant coaches. The runner takes off for second base. The pitch is outside for a ball. The throw down to second base is not in time. A 1-2 count now on the batter as Owen Gibbons makes it into scoring position on the stolen base. Tracy staring down in the direction of second. Now comes to the plate, and that pitch is waved at and missed. Nick Crivello puts the tag on Gill to complete the strikeout. That completes the top of the 5th inning. So Mike Tracy allows 1 walk, but nothing else in this top of the 5th as we head on now to the home half of this 5th inning with the score remaining 7-0 in favor of Milford Post 59 as you enjoy coverage of Milford's trip through this Intra-State Sectional here on WMRC First Class Radio. First Class Radio on various forms of social media. You can like us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/WMRC Daily News. You can also follow us on Twitter at WMRC 1490. Connor Gill delivers strike 1 into the pinch hitter Joe Cortez. Now he goes fishing for a pitch off the outside edge and comes up empty, quickly down in an 0-2 hole. Cortez batting in the place of Matt Decina. And now another tough swing at a pitch up and out of the strike zone, and on 3 pitches, Cortez goes down.
Coming to the plate, number 16, the left fielder, Scott Hubner.
Not the kind of at-bat you're looking for Joe Cortez, who has not gotten to see much action here in the postseason. Came into that at-bat with a 196 batting average and 14 strikeouts on the year. Puts him close to the top in that category. It's Scott Hubner who leads the team in strikeouts with 19. Scott Hubner up at the plate now. He's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. So Coach Mackey trying to get some of his bench players some game action here. As again, we mentioned off the top that he's gone with the exact same lineup for the last 3 consecutive games. Hubner now well ahead in the count, 3-0. One out, and the base is empty here in the bottom of the 5th inning. A 3-0 count to the leadoff man, Scott Hubner. He takes all the way and takes the called strike 1. We may very well see Cortez come into the game at third base in the next half inning, with Andy McMillan sliding over to the now vacated second base spot.
Now batting number 2, third baseman, Andrew McMillan.
As Scott Hubner does work the 1-out walk, he trots down to first base, and now here comes Andy McMillan. Scott Hubner now has been on base 3 times in 4 trips to the plate. At first base with the 1-out walk, and now Andy McMillan takes the first pitch out of the zone. Andy walked and scored in the first inning, singled, drove in a run, and scored a run in the second inning, and flew out hard to left field as now this pitch gets down in the dirt for ball 2, but gathered in quickly by Cam Ruziak. He tried to catch Scott Hubner wandering a little too far away from the first base bag. They nearly did catch Hubner in an awkward spot, but he was just able to get the foot back on the first base bag. 2 balls and no strikes to count. This one off the end of the bat, but it's going to get dumped down into left field for a single. Opposite field hitting by Andy McMillan. He drops it in front of Nick Ellicone. 2 hits now on the day for Andy, who just continues to excel in these playoffs. On base 3 times tonight. He has an RBI to his credit, 2 runs scored. And this will now officially be the day for the starting pitcher, Connor Gill. He hung tough in there, trying to get his team through 5 innings, but could not quite do it as he's allowed 2 men to reach here with 1 out in the 5th inning, so he will be lifted for a relief pitcher. We will let you know the name of that relief pitcher right on the other side of this commercial break. The new pitcher on for Wachusett, post 42, is number 6, C.J. Doskasil. The lefty takes over for Connor Gill here with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th inning. He inherits Andy McMillan at first base and Scott Hubner at second base, and will face the right-handed batting Dan Mantoni, who is 0 for 2 on the night, does have a walk. The lefty's first pitch is up high for ball 1. Still a very clear sky here overhead, just a few scattered clouds as we see just the very last bit of light in the sky with the sun setting off in the distance as we're past now the 8:30 mark on this beautiful Tuesday evening here in Milford. 2-0 the count to Dan Mantoni. Here's the pitch. That one in there for a called strike. They snap the throw down to second, and again Hubner is able to get back. He has been very liberal with his secondary lead on the base path so far on this particular trip around the bases. Wachusett taking notice, and they've nearly picked him off now a couple of times. We'll see if he keeps it a little bit closer to the bag from here on out. Quick conference taking place on the mound now between the new pitcher Doskasil and the catcher Cam Ruziak. Wachusett coming into play here tonight with an overall record on this 2013 season of 19-10. Milford with an overall record of 25-4. The 2-1 pitch is too far outside. It has been a very impressive season for Wachusett. They're a team that has had to deal with more than most in terms of the rainouts we have seen throughout Zone 4 over the course of this season. The 3-1 pitch is not close, so Mantoni heads down to first base on the walk. It will once again load the bases for Matt Forelli. Wachusett having Mother Nature intervene with their schedule with a lot of frequency over the course of this year, but they've just rolled with it. They've played well really from start to finish, ultimately putting themselves in position for the number 3 seed heading into the Zone 4 playoffs. They swept away a tough Framingham team in 2 games to qualify for this Intra-State Sectional, then had their first attempt at their first game here in the Sectionals washed away due to rain. They finished the game yesterday, defeated Pittsfield, but now down 7-0 to Milford here tonight, facing a bases-loaded jam here with Matt Forelli at the plate, and a count of 2 balls and 1 strike. Matt Forelli with a grand slam home run here back in 2012. He'd love to break out of this mini funk he's in, sending one over the fence right now. It's a 3-ball, 1 strike count now. Nowhere to put Forelli, with Scott Hubner at third base, Andy McMillan at second, and Dan Mantoni at first base. Hubner and McMillan, the responsibility of Connor Gill. Here's the 3-1. It is up and away for ball 4. A bases-loaded walk to Matt Forelli. And that will force in Scott Hubner from third. And Milford ups their lead now to 8-0.
Now at the plate, number 15, center fielder Ian Strong.
Still just 1 out in this inning. The bases still loaded. And for Ian Strom, who already has a pair of RBIs on the night, he has a chance to continue to just punish this Wachusett pitching staff that has not really had much working for them tonight. And to my knowledge, mercy rules still apply here in the postseason, so 2 more runs across the plate for Milford, and we could be looking at a mercy rule win, as we are in the bottom of the 5th inning now. An 8-0 score, a 1-0 pitch coming up to Ian Strom that misses outside for ball 2. Two balls and no strikes the count, and now head coach Chuck Tidman coming back out of the dugout, and he is going to take the baseball from Doskasil, a very short leash here, and right in the middle of a count, he's going to call in Cody Hall from shortstop to take over here on the mound. A very unusual situation. You rarely see a pitcher lifted in the middle of a count, but Coach Tidman trying to do everything he can to keep his team in this game. It looks like Tim Post will come out and take over at shortstop as Hall comes in on the mound. Breaking out tonight. We're already set to resume action here at Pheno Field as Ian Strom jumps on that 2-0 pitch from Hall and lines it hard but foul down the third base line. Two balls and 1 strike now the count. Here's the next pitch. This one is popped up over the backstop, over the bleachers, and out of play. So now the count is even. Doskasil not credited for even a third of an inning pitched as he just walked 2 batters. Now this pitch is hit on the ground slowly towards first base. They'll fire to second base looking for an out there. They will get it. Just barely. It looked like Matt Forelli had slid in safely, getting that foot on the bag. It was a very slow roller towards first base. It was a curious play for Ventress to even try to go that route. But they do cut down Matt Forelli at second base. It's the only out that is recorded. Strom safe on a fielder's choice. He gets the RBI. As Milford now goes on top by a score of 9-0, and now here's a high fly ball out to left field, going all the way back to the wall. And did it stay fair? We're still waiting for a sign. It is a foul ball.
Just a long strike, Seahall. That's all.
First pitch swinging. Kevin Martinez drilling a pitch. That one completely leaving the yard here at Pheno Field, but in foul territory. It took a long time to get a definitive call from either umpire, just kind of staring back and forth at each other. That one was right down the line. Not like a big league park here. We don't have a foul pole that extends high up into the air. Now here's a line drive down the left field line. This will land in fair territory and roll all the way to the wall. In to score comes Dan Mantoni. Stopping at third base is Ian Strom. That ups the score to 10-0. And that will be the ball game. They will call it here via the mercy rule as the Milford bench players come pouring out onto the field, giving high fives to Kevin Martinez as if he just hit a walk-off hit, and in a way he did. He ends up with an RBI double that ups the Milford lead to 10-0 and concludes this one by the mercy rule. Milford comes up with a outstanding performance here tonight. They just absolutely overpower their Zone 4 rival Wachusett Post 42 with a 10-0 victory in just 5 innings of play. What a display there to close out this game at the plate by Kevin Martinez. He nearly sent one over the fence for a 3-run homer, comes back on the next pitch and sends one all the way down into the corner for a double. That scores the run that ends this game. Milford wins it again by a final score of 10-0 in 5 innings. We'll recap.